subject? Evolution or revolution, we ain't done yet. Laying flat like Sanchez, this a bomb threat. I know my flow like Angozi. Source up and show me, homie.
You, what's happening? What's happening, man? You know what I mean? We just gonna get straight to business tonight, man. You know what I mean? We in the building one more time. Shout out to the panel, man. Shout out to the chat. Man, goddamn, what's going on with your main brass? What's happening?
What's going on, G? It's time to have a nice little conversation. Hopefully we double up. See them Cowboys lose tonight. Pseudos lose tonight. It'll be a great night. 2 losses.
Already, man.
What's good, G?
Yeah. What up, Sosa?
Yeah, man. You know what it is, man. Another pseudo killer kickdoor productions, man. Look, man, we come to share we know, learn what we don't know. Bang on pseudos, man, and kick those in, man. Let's get it, man.
Kick those in and bang on pseudos is what we do. Got the mad scientist, the angry professor, Cedric Ortega, in the building. What's happening with your boy?
What it do. You know what we say? Scientific literacy gives you that vaccine against the scammers, charlatans, hustlers, and racketeers in our community. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, Gideon, what's happening with your man? I hear you in them goddamn cranking them beats, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, just let the people know that you do that too. You know what I mean? What's happening with you, boy?
Peace. What it do? You already know. Gideon Block LLC. You know what I'm saying? We got the shit rocking over here, man. Hottest beats, reggae, dancehall, trap, R&B. You already know. We got it all, man.
Already, man. We gonna keep it rolling. Gullah, man. What's happening
And
with
we
you?
do so and kill pseudos.
All that. Hey, Gullah, what's up, boy?
What's good with it? This boy Gullah Jack, you know what I'm saying? Power of the Book of Al-Jahid's podcast, you know what I'm saying? The Maverick of Science was good with it, y'all. What's poppin'?
Ain't nothing, man. And you know what I'm saying? Yo, you know, we got my mans. We got Kick Dope Marcus. This ain't the regular Marcus y'all used to. You know what I mean? Y'all about to be introduced to officially introduced to Kick Dope Marcus Shalimwe. I think I be saying it right. You know what I mean? Y'all see the avatar. Y'all know we standing on. You know what I'm saying? You know what you feel me? What's going on with you, man? I'm gonna let you start this joint out, man, because you know the topic for the night, man. We really ain't, you know, we ain't staying in the lines, man. We gonna have a conversation about what's been going on lately. So you know, what's happening with your Marcus, man? Nice to see you in there, man.
Oh man, it's all good, man. I'm chilling. How everybody else doing, man?
Good,
Man,
Marcus. We good.
Man, and before we do start though, let me go ahead and show some love to the chat, man. You know, we got Chef in the building, man. I see you, man. First on deck. We got Mun2 in the building 2.0. We see your boy 100, you know what I mean? Omar Reed, bap. I guess that means Black African Power, you know what I'm saying? Got Smalls in the building, you know what I mean? Straight soldier right there. Alex Torres was happening with you. And Mongo Slade, man, that's the homie right there, man. So yeah, man, about this cognitive dissonance that's been going on lately, you know what I mean? This illusory superiority, you know what I mean? Complex, man. You know what's going on, Marcus, man? What's happening, man?
Yeah, you know, some people think they a little. I guess I get it a little bit when you analyze, take a step back and you analyze a situation. It kind of it looks one way that it may not be. It's disturbing at the same time. When you talk about cognitive dissonance, and when you talk about just the full range of cognitive biases, we brought out something called the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is individuals tend to think they do much better in subjects than they really do. And the higher in education you get, the less that effect has on you. But that's one effect inside of a large group of type of cognitive biases that people have. And the one that we're going to talk about today is the illusionary superiority. That's when individuals who get their self-esteem by comparing themselves to other people take extreme measures to show themselves to be intellectually, physically, economically superior to other individuals, despite the facts that is not true. So somebody decided that they were going to check the pseudo killers on a subject, and they decided to do a live show on somebody else's channel. And in doing that, they kind of exposed some things, right? They stated that the experts were still weighing in on the subject, yet he said that we were wrong and that the Boston Museum was wrong, as if he's the expert weighing in on the subject. That's a strange phenomenon to me. If you are an expert, be an expert. But if you are just a guy on YouTube who wants to give his resume every 5 minutes.
Oh, man. Where they do that at?
I don't know. I thought they, normally when I'm looking at the upper echelon of education, they give a brief review of somebody's work, and then they go on and let the person speak for themselves. But to hear 38 years, I did this and I did that, and every time you say something that they disagree with, they want to list, what have you done? Where have you been? Have you done this? And this is an individual, this is a concept that people who tie their self-esteem to the evaluation of other people, this is that type of behavior. And so I don't think that their response was significant enough for the pseudo killers to even respond. I think that it was shabby work. I think that somebody said that they make terrible arguments. I think that guy was correct in that case.
Yes. While making terrible arguments.
Terrible arguments. And so sometimes what happens is it's a bias that people establish in which they feel as though they their expertise or their opinion of what they think they know is far greater than what they really are. So pseudo killers stand on, listen to the experts. Read what the experts say. Everybody got an opinion, but every opinion ain't valuable.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna pass the mic because I was gonna, y'all know how I get. I'm
a weigh in from a scientific perspective from a moment. And it's something that the pseudo killers stand on. We don't engage with any subject matter charged and loaded with emotions. We follow the data, we analyze what the experts say, and we display methodology. Science, we're not going to do the common thing in the conscious community. Now, do you know the etymology of the word? It means to know. That's all it means. So if I know my mama, I'm practicing science. If I know my daddy, I'm practicing science because I know. No, that's not science. That's ignorance. Science is a method by which we evaluate the natural world around us. And you can't get around science. And when you're engaging in any discipline, at this point, we understand that we use multiple disciplines of science to understand what's going on. And what pseudo killers have been doing is bringing you the experts, the actual experts. So when I sound like Unc, or I sound like Marcus, or I sound like Brass, it's because we are analyzing the same data and coming to the same conclusion. And we do this sometimes independently. We come on the chat and I say something that's been said a half an hour ago the exact same way, or vice versa. Why? Because we are methodological in our approach. There is no ideology here. And these are the tools that you need to engage when you want to bring your people correct and accurate information. You do not try to discredit an established scientific theory as a skin map as it relates to human evolution, human migration. You paint these simplistic pictures, which actually takes our people backwards. If you understand human evolution, you would understand that there was never one singular phenotype of human being. It is the environments that we were in that produced the different phenotypes. And when you engage in your deliberation and you're being disingenuous by painting a picture that is even, I can't say skewed, that is completely false and incorrect, using terms like people are sitting and waiting. They don't know what they're waiting on, but they're waiting for the culture from the South to absorb them. While we have the factual evidence of well-established cultures all along the 4,000 plus miles, double the width of the United States. Again, almost double the width of the United States. All along the Nile, we have different cultures, all interchanging, all developing what is necessary in their own environments, which all added to what eventually became ancient Egypt. There is even even to the point that we talk about the Narma, the Naphtali. There were all cultures equally rivaling this in this area. This is up-to-date information. Talk about outdated. Talk about irrelevant. Talk about insignificant.
You gotta wonder
Wow.
though, like you gotta wonder, like, so I be hearing y'all talk about the Egypt conversation all the time. It's not really something I'm interested in, but I listen in from time to time, and I hear both sides, and but I also hear on the other side people going against, like Marcus said earlier, they go against the museums, but they claim to go to the museums, right? Or they claim to be about scientific literacy, but they go against the scientific literacy and pass stop signs and all that. What's really the motive there? You know what I mean? It's just like, and then they start hating on the channels that promote scientific literacy, like pseudo killers, like community of skeptics. Like, is pseudo killers threatening the bag, the Hotep bag? Is that what it is, or is what's going on? Like, are they scamming?
With that superiority complex, I'm a little clear. I understand it too. I mean, before we leave, I want to get into it because there's actually some direct connections to the brain, so we can kind of stay on that also.
Oh, okay.
With the frontal complex, with the frontal cortex. So I'm gonna get into that once everybody gets speaking. I'll share my screen. But it's egocentrism and focalism. When you can only see the world from your personal point of view, then that it shows in how they argue. When you can use anything to boost your argument. So when you do things like, this is what's in the museums, but then when the museums don't agree with you, well, I think this is where the museums got it wrong. And I think, and I almost feel bad for people when they do that, because then you could almost see like the focalism. And this one is hits even hard. You place too much emphasis on one single factor. So you focus their attention so hard onto one thing or one polka dot bull that you close yourself out to all other possibilities. You start turning bulls black. You start saying, you know, things like the silk, all black, bitumen, black. You start saying everything, it has to fit into this little box. And that's why a lot of times we get attacked, because we come from the point of view, and I want to say this really quickly. Stop saying that we just quote from the experts. There's a word in there that's important. The consensus of experts. So a lot of times when people say their immediate thing is, oh, well, experts don't always agree. True. But the consensus of experts on the topic is where we are. So when you say Unc doesn't know what he's talking about, or Brass or Kent or Sosa doesn't know what he's talking about, then you're saying that the consensus of experts on the subject is wrong.
Hey, Brass, it's almost like as if they saying we making shit up.
Exactly.
I mean,
So we're not ever going to be in a box. There's never going to be a time where we say if the consensus changes. So we have the ability to change our views on the subject, because the consensus may change. That's possible, but the consensus right now is what it is, and that's what we're going to say. So if we're at the museum and this is what the museums are saying, we don't have to be a museum tour guide. You know, we don't have to be homeless without a channel. We don't have to do that and then turn around and say things like, oh, well, the museum's wrong in this particular case. So when you look at egocentrism and focalism, it's very important, because then when what you say doesn't fit, you'll make it fit, because it has to fit. But I'm gonna do a small presentation on the brain, take about 3 minutes, but everybody else get it in.
See what Dr. Alf, what Brother Alf does is he's not letting the evidence lead him to his conclusion, right? He's throwing the dart. You know how when you play darts, you gotta throw at the bullseye. You're trying to get, in the center of the bullseye, right?
Yeah.
But he's throwing a dart, and then he's going and trying to draw the bullseye around the dart. No, that ain't how you play the game, bro. You know what I'm saying? You don't throw the dart and then paint the bullseye around it and try to make the evidence fit your belief or your idea. Nah, you don't. And then when people tell you you're wrong, nigga, that ain't no hate.
That
You know
ain't
what I
no
mean?
hate.
But shit, if y'all feel like that, feel y'all want to feel. We don't give a damn. We don't respect y'all niggas. You know what I'm saying? It's not that type of party. We don't respect that whole, they the elders, or they they write books and all that. Man, you don't gotta write a book if it's already been written about, bro. Now that's cool if you want to write a book. Like, I like to look at I like to watch Cosmos. I like to watch a lot of space YouTube videos and stuff like that. That don't mean I'm gonna write a book about the black hole. No, it's already been written. I don't have nothing to add to that. It's already been written.
I'm not doing no research. I'm not in a PhD program. I haven't read thousands and thousands of actual data to even create a hypothesis to begin to actually write a thesis. You know what I mean? You're not contributing to anything. You're regurgitating what is already there. I didn't do a presentation. Why do I need to do a presentation when I can pull up a university article that explains that whole subject? Like, why would I do that? But
listen.
The thing is, how don't you know that?
It's simple though for the people listening. Yeah, right. You either want information or disinformation. You're gonna listen to the experts or you can listen to the nexperts, bro. It's that simple. The conscious community got their own nexperts out here, thinking that they equal to the actual experts, and we banging on all nexperts, man. So that's where we at right now.
see what they doing
logic.
What they doing is they're using our history against us, right? So they tie it to the history of scientific racism and make their arguments based on that, right? And they use that against us so that when we come and bring relevant information, things that can improve your life, they want to take you back to the arguments in the 60s and 70s. And you can't survive like that, right? One show we're gonna go over another cognitive dissonance that has to do with how people tend to worship the past as if it was much better.
Yep.
And I think sometimes we forget, right, the progress that has been made, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was
nostalgia.
It was a time when they said nothing positive came out of Africa. It was a time when they said Africa had no contributions. And when they seen positive things in Africa, they said that European Caucasians came and did it and died out. And now the Africans are in that position, that place. Right? They did that, right? The curses they said that was on their black skin. Right? Yep. And now today, people use that same malicious ideology to trick us away from staying relevant in the best possible way, which is scientific literacy.
You know what's so disingenuous, Marcus?
Hold on, said my bad, man. We gotta introduce new pseudo killer just joined the panel, man. You know what's up to the Kemet Bitterman Black Bull, man. What's happening with your DQ?
Man, I'm good, man. I've been converted, man.
Ladies and Bitterman, it's DQ.
You know, I had to tap in with the boys, man. You know what I'm saying? We doing what we do, cook that policy all day.
I was just gonna say, and you know what's so disingenuous? That in 2023, the scientific consensus is that the whole of Egypt, Upper Kemet, Lower Kemet, the whole of Egypt is an indigenous African culture. It didn't come from nowhere else. Nobody influenced the culture that eventually became Kemet. But you cannot deny that Kemet, that Delta region, is an area of confluence. And from before modern humans, that area was a gateway back and forth in and out of Africa. You know why? Because those people, I'm going to use Corey's words, didn't know they were in Africa. They were inhabiting a region. And you know what else is a matter of fact? That based on human evolution, based on environmental pressures, that environment produced a particular phenotype that you are not comfortable accepting. And that right there is the crux of this whole argument. You cannot accept, they cannot accept that you do not have to be blackity black to be in Africa.
See, said, you're not my friend, said. You're not my friend. You're not my friend, said. You can't say that, said. Stop it.
The truth has no friends.
So you mean if the African don't look like me, he ain't African?
Exactly.
That's why they want to throw out the skin map.
That they want to throw out the skin map, and they want to use terms like invaders, like as if we do not know when these so-called invaders, established cultures, came in. And you know what? Even though they came in from next door, they pretty much looked like the people that were already there. I'm sorry, but that's just true. Can somebody feed him a cat?
Yeah, that's right. I forgot Alf ate cats.
Great.
Another. Because at some point I'm gonna share my screen, but not yet. I'm gonna wait a while. God killer in the building. But,
peace to the.
Hold on. You know what? Let me just get this out, and I'm gonna get it to God killer.
Yeah, go ahead.
So another thing that you see, and me and DQ, we actually got a running bet on a timer on every show. When that complex gets, that superiority complex comes in, because anytime that a superiority complex gets challenged, because it's a form of narcissism, it's right there with cognitive bias. And what happens is, anytime you're challenged, then it's, who are you? What have you done? What's your resume? What school you go to? But then when you're on a same playing field with somebody that you know for a fact is on the same level as you, when they challenge you, it's crickets. Crickets. You have nothing to say. You can't possibly present different information. And one of the things in the pseudo killers where we catch a lot of flack is because y'all are so caught up in people worship. You're following the people, not the information. When you say Unc is wrong, then this is what I want you to do. You can watch Unc's shows blindfolded. You can watch the pseudo killer shows blindfolded, Community of Skeptics blindfolded. So when you say that the pseudo killers is wrong or Community of Skeptics is wrong, you can't say any one person is wrong. You're saying that the consensus of experts on that topic is wrong. And if you're saying that, you might be suffering from superiority complex. You might be suffering from it, a form of narcissism, a cognitive bias. Everything is not a battle. You know, one of the things we always say is, why are y'all messing up when we already won? Why are y'all trying to open up the fight? We already won. We already won right now. We're still here. People tried to take us out. We're still here. But yet every single battle has to be fought on false premises. What do you say, Unc? Never acquiesce to a faulty premise. Never. We will never do it. So when you say, oh, well, you know, they won't stop, you're right. We're never going to acquiesce to a faulty premise. We're not going to let you just fool the minds of people. It happens all the time. The other night when we were on the show, we showed 3 straight sources, because we never show sources, but we showed 3 straight sources to a gentleman from the chat. And the best that they could say after the sources was, how could you be right? He sat at the feet of the elders. How do you beat that? How do you combat that? How can you combat? That's people worship. You're worshiping a person. We're trying to give you the information. We're trying to get you out of that box. Because worshiping a person will have you in a cult. Worshiping a person will have you out of your mind. And we're trying to help you with that. But I see God Killers in the building. I'm going to fall back.
Yeah, man. We got brother God Killer, Mr. West, a.k.a. Unc. What's happening with you, man?
Man, what's going on, man? I see you. I see the building is full, man.
Yes, sir.
Cedric, I see you, man. King Sosa, man. Marcus, man. DQ in the damn building, man. Clark Kent, man. I see you got to get in block, man. It's full up in these damn streets, man. I appreciate everybody, man. It's been a great conversation, discourse, man. It's one of them good old fashioned. We're in the middle of the damn field. We're out the damn classroom. We got out early. They wasn't paying attention to us and we was breaking out the books. So maybe they hear what we got to say, man. Let me read something real quick from the War on Science. Now, for this community, any credit given to white people is death to you and what you're saying. Because ain't no way possible that they could ever do anything because they the devil. Now, watch this. So we really trying to fit ourselves into a situation that this particular community is not actually having. And this is why we had these problems. So if the white man ain't the devil, then you ain't got no more fight. And see, we break down those barriers, right, of colorisms in our community. We breaking that barrier down and we breaking down racism amongst ourselves. And so when we make a statement and we say that every time when you apply black man to an indigenous population, you're actually doing the work of colonialism and Europeanism when they took the right for us to have our own self-governance and name ourselves, right? Colorism, placing value on a particular color. For the majority of human history, humans just did not do that. And we can actually do the scientific study and understand when those type of ideas slowly crept its way into the human ideas. So people often make the mistake in talking about how this country was found. Now, for the African American, we clearly know it was founded off our backs. But the thing is, it's 2023. Can we get scientifically literate enough to understand the tools that we will need to pass on to our kids and grandkids and still not forget where the hell we came from. Most people think once you get scientific literate that all of a sudden, when you realize that there is no race, it's a social construct, they're actually thinking that we have forgotten that social construct killed over 12 million of us. Those who are scientifically literate will never forget. Those who run around pseudo will completely forget because now they're making that shit up as you go. So it says this, it says, contrary to what many fundamentalist politicians and televangelists have claimed, America was not founded as a Christian nation. It say the land was initially settled by Puritans, but the country was founded on the principles of science, something the Puritans valued greatly. In fact, 150 years after the Pilgrims arrived, the founding fathers took great pains to expunge religious thinking from the writings that had laid the legal and philosophical foundation for the country they had wished to form, beginning with the Declaration of Independence. Now you say, well, damn, Uncle, our ancestors was enslaved. Damn right we was enslaved. We was kidnapped victims. And see, we understand that. But that doesn't mean that we can't use the tools to continue to keep our freedom, right? If we fighting from a position of being in the Stone Age, then we'll go back in slavery. So this pseudo killer thing that we got, this movement of ours, man, is actually dedicated to making sure we don't get back in that position, that we have people willing and able to fill these positions at high levels. So we sit around a bunch of people that claim to want to be natural. It's all they talk about. We natural, we want the natural thing. When in actuality, they're doing the exact opposite of what they claim they want to be able to do. Because if you tell me that you really think you naturally want to be natural, then the thing that really gets you closer to that is what? It's called science. Because science is the nature thing. Science is understanding the very thing these people claim they want, and that's to be natural. But you can't be natural unless you can understand what natural is. And we know damn well that science is the study of nature. It's the study of natural. See, it's counterintuitive when you claim you want to be so natural that you can cure a virus by eating some damn wheat grass and chicken noodle soup. We know you out your damn mind. Because in actuality, be natural is to understand how viruses and pathogens work so they can use your natural immune system to fight them damn diseases. So this group right here we got going, this is a goddamn movement. And see, it don't take you 30 years of goddamn study. You just would have to understand evolution. It don't take you 30 years of study to understand what the hell a goddamn population was in the Nile Valley. And see, they get mad and they get disrespectful because they didn't spend 30 years trying to figure this shit out. And all you would ever have to do is understand evolution. And understanding evolution, it's a shortcut to get around all the complete foolery and cognitive biases on the damn situation. So when we say that Egypt is an indigenous civilization, we simply saying it's indigenous to the continent of Africa, and indigenous don't mean you don't got no mixing. Homo sapiens sapien is the great mix. Ranging in skin color and phenotype is the great mix. People coming into the gene pool doesn't stop you from being African. If that's the case, then we can forget about it. So the conversation got wild. We done lost friendships, at least mine. I lost a friendship that I respected a lot, but I got a mandate. My mandate got to be greater than the friendships, or else we not going to make it. And if you look at the situation, everybody I fell out on, I fell out on them on the basis of understanding and transmitting science. The Big Bang, the Egyptians understood the Big Bang. The Dogon said it didn't say it, it did say it. The Egyptians called themselves black. They blackity black, blackity black. They black. I know they call themselves black. All these was issues that could be easily settled by having a little more science, man. So I'm sitting back and I'm enjoying this goddamn conversation as we rock their ass to sleep. Oh, the book I was reading for the War on Science, man. Sean Otto, get that book, man. That's a great goddamn read. Life would be different after you read that.
Hey, also, what do you think it is the reason? So say like sometimes to us it seemed like it's easy. Like who can't see that? Like yesterday when we was talking about if the Egyptians saw each other as black, then that means race would have started with the Egyptians, but that also means because race started as a as racism, out of racism and a pseudoscience, that means racism started with the Egyptians
Correct.
and not white folk.
So they
So
think
that kind of go ahead, my bad.
no, they actually think the argument is about we hear this mistake made. The mistake is y'all don't read Meta Nature, so how y'all know? Well, I just actually sat back and let y'all do that for 3 months. The argument never really was about who actually understood the Meta Nature. It's not about who understood the Meta Nature. It's about who understands when the racial construct was formed that would put a value system right on human skin color and would separate you from the rest of the population based off your skin color. See, we understand through historians that this idea started somewhere in the 1700s, not in 1500 BCE, not in 2500 BCE. So for them to be right, and I want y'all to hear this closely, anybody in earshot, for them to be right, they would actually have to prove that the Egyptians started color racism themselves. That's the only way they can get this off, is that the Egyptians say, yo, people with jet black skin are superior. We're the most beautiful people in the world based off our black skin. You say, but wait a minute, they talk about Osiris. Last time I checked, Osiris was a god. And there were things that were in the Nile Valley that was far more important than the color of your skin. And that's to be able to have food production. And see, they understood. See, their life depended on fucking food production. Right. And it was that black, thick soil that came up from the Nile. Things that lived around the Nile and in the Nile died. And they all settled to the bottom of the goddamn Nile. And it cooked and it marinated. And it came together like compost. Decomposing things that decompose fall to the bottom of the river. And annually, this death and destruction would be pushed up out of the Nile, and it was spread all over the goddamn banks. This is a great contrast. But out of what they supposed was dead, sprung up life. And so they understood that black soil, for some wild reason, had a magical principle to it. And they said it brought life. It regenerated life. So they said, we'll take this, understanding that this black dirt, they ain't got no chemistry. They ain't got the element chart. Right? It was magic to them every time this black death would actually bring life. And so they form Osiris, resurrection. And they said, if we put this black substance all over the mummification, process and all over the sarcophagus and fill up buckets with this bitumen, then maybe that would help the pharaoh regenerate in the damn afterlife. Osiris represents generation. Right? And then you see Osiris representing green. So if they was really talking about the skin of human beings, then where the hell is the people with the green goddamn skin? See, we never really think about that. It's a wild ass idea. It's wild how they playing this game. And guess what? Kaloum. We heard Sarah Stupid Seti say the same damn thing. The man was formed on the potter's wheel out of the dark soil. We heard people say that, but guess what? So if man was formed out of that black soot on a potter's wheel, right? Then why in the hell don't the Egyptians represent themselves with the jet black skin? Them damn Nubians is represented with them jet black skin. Not because they hate their skin color, but they was actually saying they're different from us. They got a different quote unquote religion. They got a different daggone language, and they got a different damn culture. And Egyptians felt like they were superior, not based off the color of their skin, but based off of their culture. But see, they're not going to tell you that, because then the conscious community ain't the conscious community no more, because the whole conscious community is riding on that the Egyptians is these jet black people with jet black skin. If you start understanding that white man's knowledge to say Africa is the most diverse place on planet Earth, we want you to wrap your head around that you could be looking at a person that you know in your mind, in your heart of hearts, that they are on European or they Mediterranean type, but they still could be African. Looks are very deceiving. The whole conversation's gotten wild, right? Friendships have been knocked out of sway, right? Because they're claiming that the actual Egyptians practice racism. So that's the answer to my question, bro.
Yeah, and they got so we got a question from the chat, Mr. Anthony Bowman, Spaceman. Anthony says, how do you make a hand on a potter's wheel?
Y'all ever thought, yo, wouldn't the Nubians be the gods of the ancient world, yo, to the Egyptians, yo? Based off the
Exactly.
color, their skin look just like the bitumen, look
Exactly.
just like the dick stove. They would actually think that those people are the ones that came off the potter's wheel, and they wouldn't. So every time the Nubians walk by, they would bow down. Here comes the lords, the perfect blacks. Wouldn't they think that? But you don't actually see that because it actually had nothing to do with their skin color and all to
Nope.
do with the regeneration power of that black soil that they felt was magic.
Yep.
Hold
And they
on,
didn't
say
lost
let Gullah get
That's
in there.
crazy.
Let Gullah get in there. He ain't said nothing.
What's that, nigga, man? What you got to say, bro? You want to add something to that?
You. I'm just listening right now. I'm kind of in and out right now. I'm busy. I'm gonna get to it. I'm driving right now.
Okay,
Yeah,
bro.
but I said we know you the resident goddamn Egypt man, yo. So we know you know what time it is with this.
Bitumen.
No, man. I'm just an anthropology man. That's what I study all the Africans. I ain't just Egypt.
So is this conversation a scientific conversation or not? Right. I think that's where we need to find out, if we even need to be talking to these guys, because if they're not having a scientific conversation, then what are we arguing about? Now they over there make believe land and making shit up, and just to sell a damn some sea moss and a ankh and a little small pyramid statue, then that's the one thing. But if they're really trying to make
don't forget to get lunch money. Don't forget to get lunch money.
oh yeah, and yeah, if they were trying to get a little lunch money, man, all you got to do is hey, hit me. Man, they got programs in New York for that, man. Come on.
Meal
Anyway,
plans.
Don't forget
Community
that
meal
cable bill
plan.
neither.
lead, man. I think that's what it. So no, let me finish that thought off real quick, right? That he made me forget where I was at, yo. And so is it a scientific conversation or not? And I would say it is, because you're dealing with anthropology. If you're talking about populations if you're talking about ancient populations, so now you got to go to anthropology if you want to be accurate in the conversation. But if we just in fictional make believe black superiority land, then we making everybody black. The Egyptians black, the Indians is black, the Chinese was black, like everybody black.
we Renoka Rashidi. Shout out to Renoka Rashidi.
Yeah,
May the
so
force be
everybody,
with him.
him in Hidden Colors. I
Everybody
blame
black.
Hidden Colors, man.
Everybody black.
He made everybody black.
But you admit it's a scientific conversation, right?
Of course, it's a scientific conversation. We're trying to get an accurate picture of history and of our ancient culture. And these are the tools that you use. We're talking about carbon dating. We're talking about genetics. We're talking about understanding evolution. We're talking about understanding migrations, how cultures develop, transfer of information. These are multiple layered studies to come to a full understanding. So me not being able to read the Meruneta, what point is that? Does that mean because the Dogon said they saw Sirius means they saw Sirius? If they actually said it? Does this mean that the Egyptian come out of the tails of Noon? Does they said that? Does that mean that is a fact? Pepe said his mother was a goddamn goat. That means she was a goat? Like what is the and let's be honest, the TLA already exists because actual scholars did the work. So now because we don't find it necessary to go and study an ancient dictionary doesn't make me less relevant to the conversation. And
Right.
being scientifically literate allows us, all of us on this panel, to engage in the conversation with honesty. As I continue to talk about my testimonial, I came in all the way pseudo, all the way left, just based on how I felt. And I just threw that out there. Okay, I think this. I got beat up every which way possible. I did the work. You have to do the work to be honest in the conversation. That's why we can hear when you're scamming. We can hear when you're flim-flamming. when you completely exclude everything that is happening in the Delta and go to the point that the Libyans are in Delta and not Egyptians. That is a level of dishonesty that you need to go to. That you don't acknowledge an exchange of ideas, a development of technologies through the exchange of ideas. Agriculture that came all from the north and went all the way to the south. How do you discredit these elements being actually part of Egypt? Why? Because at this point, you can't get around the scientific evidence that the people in the north were of a lighter hue. So you need to skew the conversation. You're being disingenuous. And I'm a dead horse. You're outdated. And we're outdated. You're lying. You're scamming. And at this point, I understand why. You keep mentioning your side of defeat with the hopes to eventually, with the hopes that eventually people would sit at your feet. It doesn't work that way anymore. We
Man,
don't engage in man worship.
I think we was trying to figure out, yo, who says that nowadays, yo? Like, don't nobody say that. Yo, I said at the feet. I went to school and y'all said at the feet of my teachers in high school.
Yeah,
Nobody.
no, we said at the damn YouTube. We watched it on YouTube these days, nigga. Hey, share that screen though, yo, because I said some things on my mouth and I can always sort it up.
All right, hold on. Let me. You already put it on there?
It's there. You just gotta put it up. Yo, you gotta remove the comment on that real quick so I can make sure everything is short.
Okay, hold on, man.
You just gotta click it.
I don't see it. I'm gonna look for it.
It's right there. Just hit the. Oh, it's at the bottom, right beside me. Oh, you can't find it on your phone?
Yeah. So hold on, I got you. I'm gonna look for it. I got you. Go ahead, one of y'all, while I'm looking for this joint.
Well, I'll just read it. It's from the Royal Society. All right. And
oh no, I got you. Boom.
So we actually have a rash of people going against published works, specifically the Royal Society. And there was a Bitterman article, ladies and Bitterman. Right. And so in this article, down in the conclusion, it talks about it says another explanation for the introduction of Bitterman during the late and Greco-Roman periods might be due to the shift in funerary beliefs that involve the coloring of the body black. They say the symbolism associated with the color black is significant. They say black was associated with the color of the rich, fertile silk deposited by the annual Nile flood, a symbol of the regeneration, rebirth, and resurrection, and a color and a color together with green attached to Osiris, the god of death, the lord of the afterlife, a master of resurrection, by the darkening of the deceased body during the final phases of mummification, so that it became black. He or she was literally transformed into an Osiris living in eternity. Okay, we come to the second source right here. All right. When someone died, this is from the British Museum. The last one was for the Royal Society. This is from the British Museum. It say when someone died, they were said to become a form of the god Osiris, who is associated with death and rebirth. Okay, it say Osiris was called the Black One. In this community, we learned that the Black One, the Great Black One, was talking about black people. We all learned that. We learned it wrong. Osiris was called the Black One in various funerary texts, dying, death, funerals, funerary texts, and is often depicted with black skin and in the guise of mummification, the mummified body. It's a black is also the color associated with the alluvial silt deposits on the banks of the River Nile after the annual flood reduced. And watch this. Since this fresh and fertile soil provided an ideal environment in which seeds for crops could germinate and grow, it was viewed it was viewed it as being inherently magical and regenerative. So this is why they cover these statues, these gods. That's a statue covered with the black soot, the black bitumen. It's another statue covered with it. And this is a beautiful picture right here, covered with it. And let's see. Right here, that's also a beautiful picture of it being up. So they didn't even know. If you was just using one source from the Royal Society, you wouldn't have known that they was covering the whole sarcophagus. Now, if you want us to believe that they was trying to prove that it was black skin, that's crazy. They put the black bitumen all on the outside of the mummy, right? So, when we study, we're not just looking for one source. We're looking for understanding. We're not trying to, it's called confirmation bias, man, when you're running around trying to just prove your point and you're not actually understanding what it is that you're talking about. So we do the research and we can understand what was the purpose of the bitumen. We're not going to come with a preconceived notion. We're not going to confirm our biases. In this conversation, people are actually confirming their biases. What's the bias? That the Egyptians was jet black, that their skin meant something to them. That skin thing, that's later on. That thing was harmful to humanity, and we can't keep promoting that. You know what I'm saying? Like, most people aren't jet black amongst African Americans. We got a lot of dark-skinned African Americans, but we range in skin tone and skin color, man. And so what are we really saying? That if you darker, you the best. But that's something we got from colonialism, And every time you take away indigenous people right to name themselves, first of all, is an anachronism, meaning you placing it on them. You placing your slavery, color racism, where your color denied you access to bathrooms, where your color your skin denied you the ability to drink out of certain water fountains. See, we wasn't raised in that. You know what I'm saying? Like, Martin Luther King died for that, where people like Tazariak can go on No Jumper and call Martin Luther King all kind of wild names, right? As he participates with a European. Back in the 60s and the 50s, you wouldn't have been able to have that opportunity. But it was Martin Luther King that gave you that opportunity because he was thinking. And so we're in a wild situation right now. We can't keep promoting wild ass racism because it makes African Americans feel good. So we the damn Egyptians, right? We the daggone Hebrew Israelites, we the Native Americans, and all of them is black as coal. What are we actually doing here, man? I'm gonna keep fighting for the rights of my children and babies to be scientifically literate, so that they know how to think.
You want to know something? We aren't born with intrinsic values. Culture gives us what makes things valuable. It is a social construct. You can read a book called Predictable Irrationality, where they go through how predictable your irrational decisions and biases are. So Martin Delaney, in the beginning of one of his books, he talks about how no man should be fighting a battle or this idealisms of progress using 20-year-old ideas. I'm gonna pull up a source in a few so you can read it yourself. And I think that's what we have going on here. People fighting fights that have already been won, right? And then they're fighting terrible, right? If you had a problem with what the Boston Museum had on its plaque, you should have did like Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark did down in Texas. They addressed it scholar to scholar. You don't browbeat people on YouTube to try to prove a point. when you know the experts are the one who compose that information. It just doesn't make sense. There was a time when that was necessary. It was a time when you needed that type of diluted passion. But the experts, for the most part, have already stated quite clearly that it was an indigenous African society. And that's sufficient. But the problem is, I think some people think that that the only way you can be African is sub-Saharan African.
Yeah.
And that's an imaginary line that folks created. And I think it's ridiculous to stand there and continue to hold to that line. In the conversation, those people up in the northeastern part, they're not really Egyptians. They didn't really contribute anything to Egypt. It all came from the south.
And they're not indigenous.
Yeah.
And they're not indigenous.
Right.
They haven't been there for thousands and thousands of years. They're not established there. They don't have actual structures and buildings and culture developing there. Nope, that's all imaginary. Like, come on.
Yeah, but let's say this though: they're not just fighting. They're not concerned with indigenous Africans. They are concerned with Black Africans. Right? They understand that the other types of African, but those other types of African doesn't fit your ideal pro-Black look. So that's why they say things like, they say Black African. I'm looking for Black Egypt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Black Egyptians. And the other ones up there, the shit come from the South. That's what the Black ones are. You know what I'm saying? So this is the ideology and the frame of thinking that they're using. And to speak to confirmation biases that, science, the methodology that science teaches us, the method is to rule out our biases, right? And these confirmation biases are hardwired into your brain. So, if you go to the doctor and the doctor says you have cancer, then you will go more likely to go get a second opinion. But if you go to the doctor and the doctor says you don't have cancer, then you won't go get a second opinion. But in actuality, you should go get a second opinion, even if the doctor says you don't have cancer. But that's how that's how your biases work. When you receive information you already want to perceive as true, you're not going to do the extra work to find out if it's valid or not. You're going to stay within your bias. So
that's what I was trying to figure out. It's like, what does it do for anybody to make the Egyptians Black? Let's play devil's advocate and say, okay, the Egyptians are Black. What does that do for you? Like, what, does that make you happy? Does that give you some type of magical pyramid building powers?
Yeah,
does it make you
Yes, it
superior?
Does. It makes
what does that do for you?
It actually makes you think that you are magi. That you are magi.
I got
and that you still need to be shooting them bows to defend Black Egypt from the invaders, like the pseudo killers in this big ugly tank that we drive around in.
So hold on for a minute.
It allows you to usurp the position of the late great Dr. Ben, because of course his library, because of it being so pseudo, he give it to the Muslims and not to you.
Oh, I don't know about all that. Look, so y'all do understand why they fought for the Egypt being Black, though. Y'all can dig that though, right?
Nah, yeah. I can't.
Yeah,
initially,
you gotta ask the study.
The original thing. Yeah, I remember. Okay, so I thought you was talking about the people now why they fight for Egypt to be Black.
No, I'm saying the reasons why.
Original.
Why they was actually on that. There's good reasons why.
And
I always felt like it was important to build a group that understood the why, because we hear plenty of people that's in these circles of atheism. They call them hotepas. They do all that, right? and I just felt like I wanted to make sure that there was a group of people that understood why we felt the need to try to grasp this history. First of all, that's humans do that, period. Right? No saint, right? He was in a cult where they thought they was the Hebrew Israelites and they was white boys. China, you got groups of China that say they the original Hebrews. So it's not an unusual thing to do it. It's that when African Americans do it, we over fucking do it. You know what I'm saying? We all get on the bandwagon based off of not having a clear-cut understanding of our story because it was marginalized in the first place. It was at the source of scientific racism, secondly. But great African American thinkers during time, during our time in America, have had the conversation about the daggone the Egyptians. I'm trying to find. Give me some great African American thinkers. Marcus name. Let's see. Man, let me see. I can
Herbert Harrison.
Herbert Harrison, right. Before him, though, you got, I'm
Martin Robinson Delaney.
George Washington Carver.
Delaney is another one. What's another one that was talking about the Egyptians? Wrote some of the first works.
Oh, you talking about the Egyptians? Oh,
yeah.
Martin Delaney, I think he actually tried to or did decipher or at least tried to decipher the Medu Neter. He was big. Frederick Douglass.
There you go. Frederick Douglass and all them, right? They was all saying that they was African. They was fighting for that. So it's not unusual, right? So, but in 2023, after the scientific racism has cooled way down, I'm not saying everywhere, right? But it's cooled down to the point where now museums can actually step up, right? And I'm gonna let y'all get the conversation. I just want to show some clips of people going against the damn victory at this point. Mark Delaney and all them, Hubert Harrison, man, they returned over in their fucking graves if they would hear the conversation now, because they was intellectuals. And see, we seek to continue to be intellectual in our approach or understand our damn story, It's simple as that, So I can understand why they did it then, but I can't understand why they continue to do it now. Now it should be a push to get the babies into the museums and understand the far-reaching and broad history of African people where we came from. I think that, and a more detailed understanding of history in America. These things need to be pushed. There are museums now, great places to take your family on the weekends, and it's a beautiful thing now, So Ken, I understand why, but I don't understand why now. It's crazy. You should be going to the museums now and talk about the victory.
True indeed. This is what this person says. I don't agree. This from the chat. I don't agree. Egyptians being black help reverse racism. Look at the doll test. If we see more positive imagery, our kids will love one another more.
He said, "What?
Is he serious,
no,
bro?
No.
Is he serious,
the ZL1.
He sound like Paul. My lie help you. My lie help you, make you better.
But how did it do that when you still got people dying? You still got kids killing each other. Like, how does it gonna make them?
No,
okay,
you said what? The Egyptians being black help reverse racism. Look at the doll test. No, getting your babies more black dolls to play with help reverse that. Not lying about a damn history don't help you.
But to make Superman.
So the issue is that it's not the truth. So we know that when President Obama became president, we seen a shift in blacks attaining college, blacks graduating high school. So there is some precedence to a degree of that. But the problem is it's just not the truth. So if you wanted to talk about, we from West Africa, why not talk about those in West Africa? So I think the issue isn't so much that, it's just that it's not accurate. And you want to teach your kids to love and have self-worth of their own attainments, but also to acknowledge their historical attainments. But it got to be true. Because if that's the case, then just paint Jesus black.
They did. And they did.
Yeah, they did that. But that's more. Yeah, they did that. They did that. But guess what though? It's on the same vein of the Egyptians being white. So the area where with Palestine and Judea, those people wouldn't have been white. So they would have had more color, definitely would have had more color to them. Absolutely. So you know what I mean? There again, to be historically accurate, they're in an area where the skin color will range again, like brown skin in that, zone 2-ish. Right.
Yeah,
So Jesus wouldn't have never been European anyway. So
Right.
that was funny. That's funny. So I can get it. But to make them black, now you feed right back into the racism again. But
because it reminds me of the hidden colors, right? And I used to think this too. I said once I found out it was all bullshit, I said, yo, we fell so far behind, in society that we had to lie to our people to get them to have some type of self-esteem about themselves, to want to pull themselves up, right? And okay, maybe a little bit, but when did we pump the brakes? Because now it's like we kind of we said we black and we proud, black girls rock, Black Lives Matter, all this, but we going above and beyond. Black people can't catch COVID. Black people got down. The melanin is worth $1 billion, and the melanin is a superpower because we best friends with the sun and all this other shit. It's like you gotta pump the brakes at some point, yo. The lie is actually hurting us at this point.
yeah, it's hurting. What they got on the screen? It said, hold on.
Okay, so Ronald.
Yeah. Hey, don't forget Brass got a source to you. Want to share.
Oh, okay. I was gonna let this be the last joint, but
y'all forgot
go
about
ahead.
American Dream
Address
has some
that
good
first.
questions too.
Address that first.
American Dream has some good
okay.
questions too.
So he said, Ronald said the fight about Black Egypt is not actually with the PKs, but against the Zawi Hawasses of the world who say Egypt was never black or had Black African influence. This is a fight worth having.
No, it ain't. Because once again, Black African is a racialized term.
That'll be an argument out of ignorance because it ain't black or white.
That's an argument from ignoramus.
Yeah, because it ain't white. It ain't white either. What the fuck? Like it ain't black or white.
Actually, that's a faulty premise. What's the faulty premise?
Yep.
That the original Egyptians was Black Africans. That's a faulty damn premise. Even Hawal says that the upper Egyptians were dark skinned. He said they're not the niggers. It was funny. He really fighting against the people with the daggone marching against this motherfucker. He really talking to the African Americans, yo. Because he's saying, how can you tell me who my people is? That's who he really fighting against. He fighting against the African Americans that look that man in his face and say, based off the way you look, you can't possibly be an Egyptian. See?
Yeah, he could have explained it better, but when he's saying they were dark but not Negroes, yeah. He's talking about they wasn't West and Central African, basically.
Yeah,
he just being
that's what he was. Yeah. That's what he was saying. Yeah. So to take his words and try to do something extra with them is also the disingenuousness that we see here. He was clearly stating, well, they Negroid, quote unquote. They're not like West and Central Africans, addressing the Camiverse claims, because I'm starting to hear that name a lot now coming out of Al's mouth.
Pseudoverse.
Yeah.
But but I don't agree with everything. First of all, Hawal's he got more books on the subject than any of y'all would have. He was the actual in charge of antiquities. So he's seen shit that you never get to see. And he said they was dark. He said the people in the South was dark, right? And then the people in the Delta was light, right? He give you the whole damn explanation of it. So I agree with that part. And then he do some messing up and doing all that. But he's not the fucking consensus. He's just a person in charge of the day going some artifacts, right? Some books, right? But he got that part right. They was dark in the South. You know what I mean? Up Egyptians was darker. And he said, and they don't look like the lower Egyptians. He said that.
Yeah.
He said that.
Like,
play the clip.
We heard the racist wild claims made in the 18th and the 19th century. We even heard the wild claims made in the 20th century. But now we have up-to-date information. We got genetic studies. We got skin map theory. Like, why do we need to engage in reverse racism as Black people? We now over here, after being part of the transcontinental slave trade, we are now determining what a real African is, and this is when way back when Pan African James, when I asked him, is a Somalian or Nipsey Hussle? I asked him plain out, Nipsey Hussle, the Eritrean, what we all accept as a black rapper over here, is he black? When James said no, I was done.
His mother will make him African American. His mother is African American, but his father is Tigray. You know what I'm saying? From Horn Africa, from Eritrea.
Exactly. So, and I'm Pan African James said by means of how he looks, he is not black and he is not a real African. I was done. The conversation was over at that point.
Oh yeah, he wild. Yeah.
You crazy?
In the words of her House, he'd be dark, but he wouldn't be like if he was like indigenous over there, he'd be dark, but he wouldn't be negroid, whatever.
He was funny. Shit, did he say nigga? Yo, wild out. Definitely
Like,
went hard in the paint. Picket fence, niggas had the picket fence up against him. And so, we started to get people in the community that vehemently go against damn museums, yo. And that should mean that should not be allowed. That's actually dangerous to read curated material from the Royal Society and say, I'm gonna teach them. You're gonna teach the British. You ain't teaching them nothing, man. They had damn near 100 years to fix all their mistakes, yo. Not to say
when
there's
you
still not mistakes there, but come on, yo.
when you try to straw man the museum, then you're really getting wild. When you claim that what the museum meant by multicultural is only after the invasions, then you're denying the different ethnic groups that exist in the old kingdom, in the middle kingdom. You're denying all of that.
Nigga, you gonna have
And the museum isn't saying that. That's not what they say.
Them niggas
You
gonna have to
lying.
dig up, they're gonna have to dig up a mummy. They're gonna have to bring a mummy to the motherfucking museum to be, you know what I'm saying, to save the stuff they trying to say. You know what I'm saying? They act like they got a mummy in their closet or something. They've got hidden or something.
So you know what it's like, yo? It's like, remember how people couldn't stand Fauci? Remember that? How everybody wanted to defeat, Fauci. Oh man, he don't know what he's talking about. It like you gonna make that up during the pandemic. And they talked about this guy, and this guy's like the 20th cited person in academia on the subject, like a virologist, top-notch virologist, and people was talking shit about him. That's like wow. So if you read his record, yo, period. You know what I'm saying? You can't even bring out to do good points in this community, yo. That's why, I always kind of sat outside of the damn community, man. I was always in that on my own space, yo, right there, waiting for them niggas to get out of line. I was always right there. So if you look at this dude, right, Hawass born in a small village near, in Egypt. Was that Damata, Egypt? Let me see. Obtained a Bachelor of Art degree in Greek and Roman archaeology from Alexandria University, 1976. I was born. In 1979, Hawass earned a diploma in Egyptology from Cairo University. He then worked at the Great Pyramids as an inspector and combination administrator archaeology. Then when he was 33 years old, Hawass was awarded the Fulbright Fellowship and attended the University of Pennsylvania. That's the same college Zablonsky goes to. Philadelphia, studied Egyptology, earned a Master's of Arts degree in the subject, and also won a Syro-Palestinian archaeologist in 1983 and a PhD in Egyptology in 1987. All right. What else? Archaeology Mediterranean Graduate Group of Art, Archaeological Archaeology of the Mediterranean World. Yeah, so you ain't just running through him. It would have been best to try to set up a debate or pay that $1,000 and sit down and had a good conversation with him. You may be surprised. You could have probably learned something to him, and his views might not have been as far away as y'all thought it would have been. But the way they attacked it was real wild. You should just spend the $1,000 and sat down and had a good conversation with him. You know, if everybody, you know, we talked about it on the show. Like, let's say everybody put a $50 and get Smash or get Reggie in there to talk to him instead of standing on the outside like a bunch of vagabonds, Jabari and them standing on the outside looking crazy. Shit don't make no sense.
And guess what? And guess what? Hawass in the 1950s, American South would have had to sit on the back of the bus. Most definitely.
And I'm damn near tired of that. I'm tired of that because really they actually classify Egyptians as white people in this country in the census, don't they, back then? Let me see.
Yeah. Look how they did. Look how they did Gandhi. Look how they did Gandhi in South Africa. He had to give up his seat.
Oh, he did.
And Italians, especially dark Sicilians, they was lynching Italian shit in Louisiana. Shit.
Yep. They had to definitely be at the back of the bus. Them Italians. Them Mediterranean people.
Them guineas.
That's a good example on how social constructs change depending on where you at.
Yeah.
Like the global, you know what I'm saying? Everybody.
The Italians joined the club when they created Columbus Day and shit. You know what I'm saying? Join the club. Join the white club.
So y'all see what Cedric with American Dream keep asking. He's trying to figure out, does a single ethnic group and linguistic group mean multicultural? No. That multicultural means that there's several ethnic groups. There were a lot of different tribes and clans in the Nile Valley. There were different ethnic groups. It's a multicultural society. And then when you read the literature, it tells you that talking about, you know, the studies, the anthropology, it tells you that these cultures came together to later on form what you would call, you know, Nile Valley culture, right? And the lady explained it, right? We all watched the video to get that straight. We watched the damn video. We showed the map. She talked about these different pockets of groups, and I think we just forget about how vast that is. Brass, where you at? You had something you was gonna put together? You had something, bro?
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask him. You know?
Yeah, I didn't want to change the whole conversation. I was gonna have Marcus help me out because, you know, we study the brain, so a lot of times we don't present sources. A lot of times we don't present sources. Well, other people don't present sources. They say we don't present sources. But I was gonna have Marcus and Sosa help me out because the title of the show is Illusory Superiority. So what I wanted to share was the actual scientific term and the scientific way that you see the illusory superiority and the 8 signs that you might be suffering from this complex. Do you see my screen?
Loud and clear. What? Hell no.
You sharing the screen?
We can see it.
Yeah, you on there?
Okay. So you see 8 signs you're suffering from illusory superiority. 1, you believe that good and bad things have a greater impact on you than other people. You tend to seek out patterns where they may not exist, like black bulls, polka dot bulls, things like that. You have a little knowledge of a lot of subjects. You have assumed you know all this is on a subject. You don't believe you need constructive criticism. You only pay attention to those who confirm what you already believe. You know, like if you got like archers and arrows and things going off every time you say something. You rely heavily on mental shortcuts such as anchoring, influenced by the first bit of information you hear or stereotyping. And then 8 signal that you might be suffering from a superiority complex is you have strongly held beliefs that you don't move away from. But there's actually a scientific term, and it works in the brain. So what causes illusory superiority is it's a cognitive bias. I would imagine that it's associated with other psychological disorders such as narcissism. However, evidence suggests a physiological factor, specifically how we process information in the brain. So they did a test on this, and they wanted to examine whether brain activity could shed light on why some people believe that they are superior to others. You know, why they always are quoting their resume, what they've done. And they actually looked at 2 areas of the brain. And Marcus and Sosa, y'all could jump in at any point. Y'all definitely are much wiser on this topic than me. I'm a student. but the frontal cortex, responsible for higher cognitive functions such as reasoning, emotions, planning, judgments, memory, sense of self, impulse control, social interaction, etc. And the striatum, involved with pleasure and reward, motivation, and decision making. So what they say is that there's a connection between these two areas called a frontostriatal circuit. Researchers discovered that the strength of this connection directly relates to your view of yourself. People with a low connection think highly of themselves, whereas those with a higher connection think less, and they can suffer from depression. So the more people thought of themselves, the lower the connectivity. The study also looked at dopamine levels. We covered this in our last show on the brain that we do on Sundays at 6:45. And in particular, two types of dopamine receptors. The dopamine levels. Dopamine is known as the feel-good hormone. It relates to rewards, reinforcement, and expectation of pleasure. There are two types of dopamine receptors in the brain, the D1 that stimulates cells to fire, and the D2 that inhibits cells from firing. And the study found that people with fewer D2 receptors in the striatum thought highly of themselves, and those with high levels of D2 receptors thought less of themselves. There was also a link between lower connectivity in the frontostriatal circuit and decreased D2 receptor activity. The study concluded that higher levels of dopamine lead to a decrease in connectivity in the frontostriatal circuit. The question remains if illusory superiority originates from brain processing, and is there anything we could do to minimize the effects? But what can you do about it? Sometimes you need to accept that there are some things that you just cannot know. Unknown unknowns. There's nothing wrong with being average. If somebody is challenging your information, that's all they're challenging. They're not trying to not be your friend. They're not trying to call you names. They're not trying to mess up your racket. It's just, there's nothing wrong with being average. That happens. No one person can be an expert in everything. You get different points of view, and you continue learning and expanding your knowledge. If no matter any of us on YouTube, people could get on and say that you're YouTube scholars, and I'm gonna leave it on. I'm gonna leave it on this. This is an actual picture of what I just spoke about. That actual process. A lot of times people think that, you say, oh, well, this is YouTube and we're not YouTube scholars. We are students. Everyone. If you're not a student, no matter how intelligent you are, if you have your master's, your PhD, anything, in the master's course I took in geopolitical science, one of the things that they always tell you is as soon as you're not a student, you're the biggest fool in the room. You should constantly be a student, no matter what you know. If you can translate the Metal Netter and give out your personal translations of whatever you want to do and your personal interpretations, great. But you should never not be a student. So, and the reason being is because when proper information comes in, you should be able to move along with that. And you don't even have to admit that you're wrong. You could just say, I learned something. I learned something new. You should always be a student, always trying to learn something new. So on pseudo killers, I know we get into, I don't really like to participate in the Egypt conversation. I like to stay in my wheelhouse, and I know we're studying the brain. So I just wanted to give that tidbit because I don't want to, I think the better conversation is not the Black Egypt conversation. I think the better conversation are things like this. Why do people worship other people, not the information? Why do we have to, when we just dig our heels in, then why do you have to have a superiority complex? Why is it every time you're challenged, you have to say, who are you? What have you done? That's not going to get us anywhere. If you're not eternally a student, I think you're on the wrong path. And that's my piece, because I don't get into this conversation. It gets toxic. But like I said, I think the best conversations about Black Egypt are the conversations we can have around it as to why people dig in so tough and why they just believe they know every single thing there is to know about Egypt. But Sosa or Marcus, if y'all want to speak to that.
Why they get it together, yo, Cuban Crisis, man. We see you just came in the building, man. Shout out to you, bro.
We want to know about African Bambaataa. What about African Bambaataa?
Oh yeah.
Are we doing that now or no?
Yeah, let's do
Y'all
that.
be all over the place.
Nah, we
Nah,
all over.
Nah,
Y'all
I
go all
wasn't
over
gonna
the place.
say nothing, but since you said so, hey,
Yeah.
Brad,
I
right quick,
think
man.
that deserves its
Hey,
own
Brad.
show.
What the
Hey,
hell?
Brad.
Hold on. What the hell is Cuban? Is you smoking something? Is you smoking Newport, Joe?
Yeah, it has to do with the brain, you know what I mean?
Jesus Christ! I ain't know niggas still smoking Newport, Joe. You still smoking Newport, Joe?
This that
Cadillacs,
Cuban.
man.
This that Cuban shit. He Cuban for real,
Hey,
bro.
you smoking Newports with a
Yeah, you go
Steeler
to
hat on. You in trouble.
you go to you. Oh, see, we want to change the subject to
What's
to
the score?
Newports.
Where's Sosa at? Sosa, stop
Yeah,
watching,
yeah,
man.
yeah. I was banging in the chat. I'm doing all type of shit.
Oh.
Yeah. To add on what he was saying, I think that's what a conversation about the brain that we're having. Like eventually, that's where we're gonna the conversation is gonna get to.
Gotta
As
be.
soon we're gonna get to right because right now we're really talking about psychology.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like this is a conversation we have right now in confirmation bias, so forth, so on. So you know, the neuroscience that we're in is the more so to speak the hard science of that realm is where you get your evidence from. So eventually we're gonna tap into that conversation, but it's good that we're bridging the gap right now. So we're seeing a connection between the brain and you're starting to see that these particular brains tend to gravitate towards each other. You know what I'm saying? And these similar types of brain have similar types of ideas, whether it's conspiracy theories, whether it's aliens, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, that
Whether
shit
it's
fit right
confirmation
there.
bias. Yeah, so
The
so we're gonna
Matrix.
get to
That we in a simulation.
right.
Simulations, back from the future, DeLoreans and shit and all
Right.
that.
Aliens.
Yeah. So we're starting to see how it's all connected. Yeah.
Yeah, they all connecting together now. You know what I mean? What part of the brain makes a person say African Bombada is the real victim? Is the real victim, and just totally disregard the other victims that were really victims? What part of the brain is that deal with?
That's called the fucked up piece of shit part of the brain. That's what.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Okay.
That victim blaming. You know what I'm saying? All
That
types of
victim
wild shit. You know
blaming.
what I'm saying? You got things like Stockholm syndrome where the
Yep.
person that's kidnapped identified the person that's actually kidnapped them. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, where the victim acts out like the victimizer.
Right. So you see that a lot too, and within the you know, people are well aware of the what they call fight or flight, right? But it's actually there's four of them. It's actually fight, flight, fight, freeze, and fawn, right? FAWN. Fawn is when you try to care for your abuser, you cater to them in hopes that they won't abuse you anymore. You try
So
to
you say
tease them.
so you're saying the person protecting the abuser more than likely was probably abused themselves by this abuser. Is
Could
that
be,
kind of
That's Stockholm syndrome. Remember Patty Hearst? Remember Patty Hearst? Like
Patty
in
Hearst.
Georgia, they found the girl. She was actually walking with a kidnapper, and when they rescued her, she was like, no, that's really my father, and it was something really going on with the brain, right? And it's actually when you're in those type of hostage situations, yo, is that it's this you become their friend, yo. They become, you know what I mean, so they won't hurt you. So, hey, share my screen though.
all right?
So the conversation not only ultimately falls on the way the brain works and how susceptible we are. You sharing the screen?
Yeah.
So this is
Yeah, it's on up.
This is Kent State University. The importance of practicing cultural translations. So when you're translating text, any text, whether it be Hebrew text, using those expert tools, strong concordance, put together by experts, or using TLA put together by experts, this goes out to the meta nature readers. It says ultimately the importance of culture in translations is that it emphasizes how traditions and geographic origin impact the context of language. When practicing translations, it is important to be sensitive to the moral and spiritual values of words to find the most accurate equivalence in the new language. So if you're translating Egyptian text and you're finding words like black this and black that, right? You got to put it in its proper cultural context, right? So
Yep.
to the Nile Valley Africans, black was very, very specific and it was very important. It held magical properties. That's why you see certain gods with regeneration power had that color. So you got to be careful. Don't apply that to the humans because they didn't. It would be out of cultural context to do that. I just want to throw that out there. This is from Kent State. This is the source right here, the Department of Modern and Classical Language Studies. That's how we know that shit they saying is wild, because it's out of context.
Yep. Yep.
Absolute.
Black represented in Egypt the same similar way that the reason why we see judges wearing black robes, or where you see, like, you know what I'm saying, black robes at a graduation. You know what I'm saying? It's symbolic.
I mean, if you sit back and you actually think about it, right? We're talking about times where the technology was by far less than what we have today. That doesn't mean people capabilities was less, but that the technology that we have today was less. They're trying to figure out the natural world, right? And so everything has a dual purpose, you could say, right? So dark skies and clouds, and you start looking at contemporaries of these individuals who came together and created Egypt. You start looking at contemporaries across the globe, you find similar patterns being developed. You'll see them creating religious and social systems, sometimes similar, sometimes different, right? There was a time historically where everything was thought to be diffusion, which is that these cultures had some type of interaction between each other, and that's what caused them to create similar items. But when they started finding in Mesoamerica the similar scrolls and stamps, they realized that that's just people being people. And I think sometimes what we do is we, because of the history of Black in Africa today, I think sometimes what we do is we overextend ourselves. We overcompensate for the wrong messages that have been given in the past. And in this case, we're taking other people's culture, other people's attainments and accomplishments, and we're trying to say that was us. We do it when we come to Mesoamerica and see dark-skinned people. I like Renoko Rashidi. Been with him a few times. That, you know, some of y'all know my history, so y'all know,
Yeah, you was in there spellbound, yo.
You know,
yeah, I was rocking with Renoko.
Yeah, we always rock with Renoko, always.
You know,
the Black Samurai was actually pretty accurate. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He has some stuff in there. The dude was like African, I forgot his name now, but
Yasuke.
But the reference is that everyone with dark skin was African.
Ain't African. Right.
But that's not true. We now have more accurate information. And so I appreciate the steps that these individuals took to get us to this point, right? Because like God Killer said, you know, he looked at Dr. Ben's books and that's what introduced him to evolution. He just didn't stay there. Mm-mm. And I think that the issue is when you stay there. I'm going to I gave y'all some sources. I want to make sure before we go, I share the sources with you.
Yeah, put it in a private chat and I'll drop it in. Like I said, I was a damn
drop that link, man. Let them people get up here, man.
And yeah, hey, look, so I also want to say too, you know, when you see Egyptian, with the ancient Egypt stuff, you get writing, all right. So, when you see the religious context, some of the first forms of religion you're gonna have is animism, Okay, so animism is they're going to start deifying. They give objects and places these spiritual representations. You feel me? So you're seeing to be the onset of this type of thinking. So when you talk about the cultural context and Osiris being the Nile and the Sit, it all falls in line with its cultural context of where religion was at that point in time. You know what I'm saying? So you see them coming out of the Green Sahara. You see different forms of animism pop up where they're given amulets have special spiritual connotation to it, and we know that they were very religious. So keep in mind. So when you're reading religious texts, you don't want to interpret religious texts literally, just like you don't want to interpret just the same thing with religious texts today. You have to keep in mind that it's a religious text, and you don't want to draw literal comparisons of religious texts, and unfortunately, a lot of our nexperts are making that mistake.
I call them nexperts. Yeah. What the hell is going on? They call them nexperts. Damn, yo, what the hell is a nexpert, yo?
I'm not the expert.
Nexpert. Next, nigga, I'm gonna get it one day, nigga. One day I'm gonna be there. That shit funny, yo.
Hey, you can put that link in the chat, yo. I'm on the
What?
Yeah, you should be able to.
I ain't got the link. Let me see.
Sosa, one of y'all.
Hold on.
I think Gemini.
I got you.
Okay.
That shit funny. Yo said nexpert, yo. Damn.
Gotta give them their own little thing, huh? Gotta give them.
That shit funny. What's up with the damn nexperts at? Damn, yo. How much time we got on the show? Where we at? We at the 1 hour mark.
We'll let them rock for about 30. I gotta do my thing in a minute. About 30 more minutes.
I'm gonna jump down. I'm gonna let them go ahead and let people get on it because there's 9 of us up here, so we got to make room.
Do we? I mean, we cheap. Y'all some cheap ass niggas. Y'all cheap, yo. Y'all know damn well y'all can go ahead and put $5 together. You don't get the whole thing. What's wrong with y'all scientific people, man?
Hey, get them likes up too, man.
You can't. We supposed to go ahead and did this blase.
Oh no, we gonna make it happen.
Yeah, we gonna make it happen. Captain. What's up, Kyle?
Yeah,
you been out in them streets fighting. You been in them streets fighting.
Hold on. We need a commercial break. We need the lights to get up. We need the lights up right quick.
Hold on, sir. What'd you say, Marcus?
Cash apps, all kinds of shit.
I said we need a commercial break. We need them lights up.
Okay.
Let me just say this, Kyle.
Yo, what's up? What's happening with y'all on the chat?
We appreciate you, Kyle. You'll be out there in them streets battling too. I'll be seeing you, my bro.
It's hard out here in these streets, man.
Man, Kyle be battling. I've been seeing you, Kyle. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir. What you doing?
Now, Kyle a rider. Most times I be going. I see somebody trying to jump him. I jump in there, help him out for a second. He puts the best points out.
Don't bring up the black hole, the wormholes. Don't bring up the wormholes.
Please don't bring up them goddamn world.
Hey, I've been doing a lot more reading. I'm ready to be on
there. What do you call it? The quantum computing and all that.
Y'all want to talk about it?
No, we don't. No. We start fighting. No, we good right here.
Never show.
Never show. That nigga, you know, Kyle reading, yo. You know.
Man.
Shit.
Hey, Sosa, go ahead and look at that score right quick for me.
What's the score? What's the score, yo?
Don't look Sosa. He trying to trick you, man.
Hey, Marcus, right now, do it. I was about to do it because Gino just
right now that I'm doing this live.
He can ready to get off this motherfucker.
This live jinxing me. That's what's going on.
What is the score?
He can live is jinxing me.
Seahawks losing because I'm 28, Cowboys, Cowgirls 20.
Oh, yo,
So what?
In the, it's in the
Third quarter
it's in
just
the third
started,
quarter.
man.
Geno
Third quarter
Smith
just
just
started.
ran a 10-yard straight up the
Geno.
middle. Where was Micah Parsons at?
Third
Oh,
quarter just started, man. It ain't no big deal.
Yeah, and they just scored a touchdown. They just started. When y'all gonna start?
oh, they gonna get off this live. Lie about the fourth down the stretch. I'm
We
gonna
had
take
to
it
wrap
down.
this up, fellas.
Hey, Sosa, I ain't looking too crazy. What I was saying earlier was I told you if y'all
Oh,
play
man.
if y'all
Yeah, if
play
I'd have said that
anybody
about Philadelphia in the
dumb.
if I'd have said that about Philadelphia in the third quarter, what would happen? See what I'm saying?
10-1 beats anything you talking about.
Too much more. There's too much time left in the game that they had.
I'm talking about a
ladies,
full house
and
versus
gentlemen.
a straight.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Ladies
I
and gentlemen.
I came to ask a quick question. It's something that kind of came to me. It may be completely wrong, but this is just me and my observation, right?
What you got?
What I kind of observed is that I think the argument that we have about Africa is due to the proximity and the availability of the knowledge of diversity of our ancestors. So the people who wrote these books that we had to deal with traditionally was African Americans or descendants of people who had went through the diaspora. And so their immediate environment, they saw a certain type of African around them. And for me, it seems as if they overlaid what they saw around them as the Africans that we all know in America as being the overwhelming vast majority of the continent of Africa. And what we are trying to do now is make the entire continent of Africa look like what we see as African Americans represented historically in a historical Africa that didn't necessarily look just like us because we came from a certain place. Like this is what I kind of have noticed, and I may be wrong. I'm just throwing it out there. There's just an observation, but
But it is kind of thing to that too, Kyle.
Yeah, that's a good point, Kyle.
Because the Africans that we come from, the Niger Congo speakers, are the most numerous populations on the continent. Like even due to the Bantu migrations, like it wasn't even that many people all throughout southern regions of Africa to the Bantus migrated to a lot of them regions. You know what I'm saying? They
correct.
They populations multiplied heavily.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head right there, bro. And you know that's what I'm saying. Only the African Americans fighting like that. You got to be your ancestor had to been through slavery. Yeah, I'm saying, and been through civil war, and fought on both sides, and fought in every war. And your ancestors would have had to go through getting off the slave plantation and sharecropping, and then going through Jim Crow, and then you after doing all that, you still can't go to the bathroom, not unless it's marked colored. And then you got to go through the civil rights movement, and you got to go through the Nation of Islam and all the other cults and Cuban crisis. Know they numerous. Reverend Pork Chop and who else? The Moorish Science Temple and the Black Hebrews. You got to go through all that. You know what I'm saying? And then get some books to try to extraordinarily pump all that up, yo. You know what I'm saying? For you to look at a group of people and you go to their country, you know what I'm saying, and tell them who they not. Boy, the only African American.
That's wild.
So
that is so
trust
wild.
me, dog. Trust me. Shit.
So there's a term, and it's another cognitive bias, and it's called essentialism, and it's a Western thought idea. And what it says is that it basically means that you create the idea image of what you hold to, and then you do comparisons to that only. Right? And when you do that, you get a bias. You're correct that people would develop an idea of what Africa looks like, and then try to conform every African to that picture. But it wasn't just what we've seen around us. It was actually scientifically racism that taught the kinky hair, the big lips, the wide noses, that also reinforced and confirmed in Western society mainly that this is what sub-Saharan Africans look like, and this is who you are. And so today we push back against that idea that Africa is the most diverse place on the planet, and that because of that, there's a lot of human variations that are in Africa. They just did a study, Dr. Andy, from our other show, he talked about it briefly, came out of the University of Pennsylvania, in which they thought there was an allele in Europe that was causing an ailment, that they found the same allele in Africa that wasn't causing it. So now they understand that there may be some environmental factors or cultural factors that are leading to this ailment. And I could post a source for that as well, coming out of the University of Pennsylvania genetic study. So it is, I don't see anything necessarily wrong with what you're saying. I mean, I think that exactly is a factor. I'm going to share my screen right quick. Kent, just pull this up right quick. I want to just show this one thing right quick.
Go ahead, I got you.
Okay, I want to show y'all. This is going to be a list of the actual cognitive biases that you can see.
D, while you getting that, man, y'all make sure y'all get them likes up, man. Appreciate everybody joining us tonight, man. You know, still rocking with us, man. We know it's late. We know tomorrow Friday, man. We going. All right, I got you. You know, tomorrow Friday, man. We gonna celebrate. We might even get it in again tomorrow. But all right, hold on, Mark, I got you.
This is. Go ahead, Ken. You can finish.
No, you got it. No, I was saying,
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
This is called a cognitive bias codex, and you can literally click on each one of these tabs. That'll help you understand. So I was just talking about essentialism. So you click on it, and there you go, and it'll lead you to exactly the history of it, where it came from, what it's talking about. It is a excellent source to use when you want to hold. Just look into some of the cognitive biases that they see today. So it's up to like 186, depending on what sources you use. Some say 200, but there are a lot of them, and a lot of it has to do with cultural influences versus individual situations, right? So like the illusionary superiority, right? That is mostly found in individualistic societies. They don't really see that type of cognitive biases in collective societies. So that's a cultural influence that is leading to this type of cognitive bias. If you ever looked at something called game theory, in game theory, they find similar things. Individual societies would play the game different than collective societies. And we're going to get into all that. Make sure y'all check out our Wednesday show on Space and Beyond with Big Brother Anthony and Juju. And on Sunday nights, check out our Brain show, where we go into more details on this. A lot of people say pseudo killers don't have sources, but we got tons of them. We just, you can check those shows out. I think we on like 5 and 6 of each one of them. So, enjoy it. But Khalil, you right on point about that. In from what I understand.
Agreed.
Well, hey, Marcus, but even with those biases, I checked out those lists that you put in the Discord earlier, and I was looking at that availability heuristic bias, where you overestimate the importance of the information that you have. And that analogy where they were saying about how they present terrorists as like this big, huge threat, and how it's more of a chance you die by a cow than by a terrorist. Or there's more chances that you'll die by a TV falling on your head than a terrorist actually killing you. But the thing is that they shove it in your face. You overestimated the importance. You do news and stories over the actual stats. Those people that always talk about, they're afraid to fly. What if the plane crashed? But they'll jump in a car and go 500 miles an hour down the turnpike. You know what I mean? So, and then even with the bandwagon effect, with that cognitive bias, I see that with all of those arrows that we always see in the chat. These archers that paint the target after they shoot the arrow. When they following the masses without thinking. You know how your parents used to, your parents always say, you know, if your friends jumped off a bridge, then I guess you just jump off a bridge too. Like, that's a real thing. You know, groupthink is a dangerous thing. Anybody who play with stocks will know what I'm talking about in this next conversation. All I got to do is say one word and you'll understand how the bandwagon effect works, because I made quite a bit of money off of this. GameStop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good book to read.
Does
on
anybody
that.
know what I mean when I mean by GameStop? I love GameStop. Why would I be saying that?
Excuse me. Hold on.
You must have lost money on it.
I was gonna say a good book to read on that.
He almost threw up when he heard it.
He almost threw up when I said
good book to
GameStop.
read on that deals with that is Rationality by Steven Pinker. That's a good book to read.
Yeah. With the boys, you talking about them boys on Reddit ran that shit up, right?
Yeah, when everybody they put out the fake story about GameStop. My son was actually in a boys group, and just by luck, coincidence at that time, he wrote something about GameStop. So I started looking into it, and I play in the stock market. And I bought some maybe like a couple months before, but then I saw like it was a run, like everybody was going crazy. So I was like, well, all right, I'll participate. So I got involved. I can't even explain to you how successful that was for me, only to find out that the only reason that it ran up was just some guys some people decided just to run a stock up. And it just ran up, literally just off the bandwagon effect.
Yeah, there's a book, I already quoted it once, called Predictably Irrationality. Listen, it actually talks about that exact same thing back in the 80s about black pearls, how this dude just manipulated the whole dang world about the values of black pearls. It's utterly crazy.
Yeah.
Excellent book. And you hit on some point. I want to shout out to Discord, right? Because a lot of y'all think that these the conversations we have online is nowhere near as intense as the conversations that we have in the Discord, the information that flows in the Discord. So I want to shout out to all the Pseudo Killer Army, Pseudo Killer, and all the participants in the Discord who, man, the information flows good, man. Shoot out that email, man, if y'all want to, get interviewed to get on into that Discord.
Hey, Kent, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Put Gemini's. Gemini just made a comment, because it's like, and that's another thing with bandwagon effect is groupthink. Sometimes groupthink could be dangerous, but like she was saying, they were trying to save it. It was more about group dynamics. See, that's what happened. See, and I love that. But see, groupthink is also dangerous. You know, GameStop just so happens to be a good story, but trust me, there's a lot of people that had a bad story in regard to that also.
Yeah,
so
like
when
with
you
Dodge.
just see when you see somebody just up there playing picture pages and saying this means that and this means that and this means that, and the best you could do, you have no idea what they're talking about, but the best you could do is just start putting a whole bunch of arrows in the chat and riding around to somebody else's channel acting crazy, and then another person's acting crazy. You just understand that at the end of the day, you know, groupthink is not always a good thing. You know, I don't like to, you know, there's stories about mobs, how, you know, mobs and riots, it starts just from like most of those people don't even know what's going on. Like in New York, I think Kai Cenat, if y'all know about him on Twitch, he had like just a small meeting. Not a small meeting, but he just said, hey, I'm going to be here in New York. And if you from out here, then you know that turned into a full-blown riot. A full-blown riot. And when they caught some of the kids, they asked them, they didn't even know why they were out there. It was just they saw their friends are talking about it on Instagram, talking about it on Facebook or whatever, or TikTok, and they just went down there. Now, it was really just a meet and greet for Kai Cenat. It ended up being a riot with people being locked up, businesses losing product. You know, Kai Cenat almost, be quite honest, he jokes about jails with his stream, but he almost got locked up for a long time just off one person saying go, and it just passed into a whole bunch of people. So just, you know, listen, we're just trying to address the things that are surrounding the conversation of Black Egypt. Groupthink, cognitive dissonance, cognitive bias, confirmation bias, superiority complex. You know, because trying to just battle with information seems not to be working. We got friendships being destroyed. We got you know, people just being super slanderous, being overly disrespectful, and I think now is the time to kind of not back away from the conversation, but take a deeper look into the conversation and see what everybody's actually talking about.
And I think the friendships are being destroyed is because the scams are being exposed, and they probably never thought it was gonna happen because you know they were just able to walk so freely in that community over there without being checked. So now you got some people checking your shit, and you know it ain't holding its weight. So you know I don't feel bad for them fake friendships that get lost, man. Because it would, to me, if you can if you can not be a friend with somebody because they disagree with you over some information, then you wasn't a real friend to begin with. You were just with me because I agreed with you the whole time. And I leave that, you know, right there where it's at.
Like God Killers say, a well-organized lie defeats a disorganized truth every
You know what I'm
time.
saying?
Every time.
And they built
Every
a house of cards. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, man. Pseudo Killer's the big bad wolf, then so be it. Shit. Yeah, man. So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Nah, I was gonna say shit. I was gonna let y'all rock out, man. Unless y'all, you know, I want to go ahead and so we got the Pseudo Killer email up there. I mean the Discord email up there, whatever, man. Y'all hit Tiff up if y'all want to get in the Discord, man. You know, just shoot the email to that right there. Try to get you in, man. We be having way deeper conversations in the Discord that, you know, should be shows. You know, we probably gonna turn them into shows one day, but you know, if you want to get more information or just build with us or whatever, man, hit us up in there or whatever. If y'all ain't got nothing else to say, man, we're gonna go ahead and try to close out, man. Anybody else got any last words?
No, I just wanted to say one more thing, if y'all don't mind.
Go ahead.
I realized from being around this community is that a lot of people have drawn ignorant conclusions. Basically, not calling anybody ignorant, but the fact that they're drawing conclusions without having information to substantiate their belief is where the ignorance lies, and it is basically not knowing, and they make assumptions. And what I've noticed that knowledge is offensive to some people because it strips away the happy places that they've drawn in their mind based on ignorant conclusions without having any facts or any logic behind it. And I think what is going on in the community is that a lot of people have drawn conclusions based on colors or terms, but it's not any facts to substantiate these things. And so when you guys and myself, when we present actual evidence and facts, and we show methodology, we show the procedures, we show how they create a phylogenetic tree, you know, we show these things to them. That's offensive. It's offensive to their ignorance. And what I'm here to challenge to people is to don't be afraid, because that feeling that you get, that's what learning feels like. Learning ain't always gonna make you feel good, but it makes you understand the world in a better position. It makes you understand how to deal with others. It makes you understand how to matriculate yourself down a better path in life so that you can be more successful and also be more creative in your thoughts. And that's what I'll end at.
That's a strong statement, Kyle. That was dope. That was real dope. It's actually offensive.
For sure. God Killer, man, you still there, man? You got anything you wanna close out with, man? You probably in that game too. Say, what's up?
Watching that game.
Yeah, I'm here. Man, Kael, that was beautifully said. I keep saying, I've been seeing certain elements keep popping their head up in this community. And The scamming and the disingenuousness is at the forefront. But I think that is a result of ideology. When ideology is the reason you engage, you're going to be rooted in confirmation bias. And when you're rooted in confirmation bias, you're going to end up lying. You're going to end up being disingenuous because your ideology is more important than the truth. And the truth has no friends. And we stand on the truth. It's just that simple.
Already. Hey, Cuban, man, what's happening with you, man? Shoot, man. Shout out your channel too, man. Y'all check Cuban out on YouTube. I forgot the name of the joint, but check him out on there. I'll let you go ahead and
Palante.
Yeah,
get
I
your
got
last version.
Wait a second. He's been dismantled, so you might want to wait for a little bit.
Okay.
Hey, don't kick the man
My
while
bad.
he's down, G.
Golly. Man, they trying to take you out, man. It's a conspiracy, man.
Yep.
Yeah, apparently need to put the YouTube directions in Spanish because Cubans have difficulties with the translations.
Okay, my bad. I ain't know, man. Well, scratch that. Any last word, bro?
When y'all talked about what race, superiority complex, inferiority complex, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I was busy doing stuff, so that's when I came on. I'd say race is fiction, and racism is real.
Okay. Gullah, I know you still in here. I think I seen you jump back in. All right, we're gonna move right along. Sosa, you good?
Yeah, man, good show, man. The Cowboys down by 1, man. Listen.
You all right? You panicking in that, man? What's going on? Your voice sounded a little shaky, got that.
Yeah, like I said, man, listen, it's gonna be information or disinformation, man. Experts or the nexperts, man. What side is you on, man?
Already, the nexperts. I like that. Yeah, we're gonna put that in. Yeah, we're gonna use that. Brad and Marcus, man. I know y'all said something earlier, but y'all good? Hearts and minds clear?
Yeah, we clear, man. Let's
I want to shout out Sakina Ra and Gemini, the goddess, who have continuously supported the pseudo killers and the community of skeptics. We notice, appreciate all those in the chat who are consistent and who want to get the best possible information so that they can have the best possible future. Your brain is for predicting, and so every time you get this new information, you have the possibility of making better predictions. Thank you.
Definitely, man. Shout out to them too, for real. For real. Brad, you good?
Yeah. No, I'm good, G. Let's get out of here.
What's happening?
All right, man. Get y'all up out of here, man. Shout out to the sisters, man, Sakina Ra and Gemini, man. Y'all just keep working, man, to get the pseudoisms off you. Keep working. Because it's all around you. It's all around you when you step up on that panel. Conscious. What's it called? What's it called, Marcus? Scramble, jamble minds, yo. It's all around you, yo. You need a force field when you go live. Put your force field around you because you're gonna need it.
Yo, wow.
I had a wild clip. You know what? I gotta get Dawson now. I'm ready to restart that up again. Get my mind off the Black Egypt. I got you.
Already,
I got a good clip to run that.
And the Alf, man, keep playing with us, yo. We on, you know what I mean? You trying to be easy. Brad's got them things, yo.
Hey, I'm telling you.
You got them things. I'm gonna just say that, yo. You got them things, man.
If Alf keep playing, I'm gonna kill that ant with a sledgehammer. I'm telling you now.
I have mercy on the old folk. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all have no idea. What is it? 8 to 80, blind, crippled, and crazy. You keep playing. You keep being disrespectful. I'm gonna pull out. I'm gonna go in my back pocket and take care and just drop a megaton bomb and call it a day.
Yeah. See, some people know you outside of this. You know what I mean? We just gonna leave it at that. Some people know you for real. But we just gonna leave it at that, man. Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and strike this joint up, man. Hey, you going live tonight, or we going to the Discord, or what we doing?
I'm burning some asses up tomorrow. Pause. Yeah,
okay.
Thank you, bro.
Crazy. Yeah.
I was about to say, please don't end the show off on that.
Nah, I had to learn how to say pause.
Yes, sir.
Yo, wow, that's the pause shit. I don't even know how to really do it.
I
finally got one.
You got these young kids got you pausing.
No, I got it from Braz. Did that shit around me a couple times. Then somebody else, I was like, when you say, oh, pause, I figured out when you supposed to say it. That's funny. That's why I had a delayed pause. Oh, pause. Hey, but tomorrow, yeah, I'm going heavy dose, heavy hand. Yeah, I'm saying I'm going heavy hand tomorrow. I got the clips and I'm starting it all up for the week. I'm going heavy hand tomorrow, clipping them. I got them all clipped up. I got them double talking. I got them. Get my licks back in. Ain't over with, goddamn it. I ain't finished, goddamn.
Oh no, yeah, we just getting started, man.
I let them out there.
We gonna beat that dead horse. We are the ones that gonna leave that carcass out there stinking.
Yeah,
we are the ones that not gonna let you walk in any door with your pseudo ass nonsense.
Yeah, I'm getting them. Yeah, I ain't playing with the pseudos. I ain't trying to hear that shit. Trying to rock us back to sleep. Oh, use your friendship. Fuck the friendship. I'm going.
Hey, no cussing on the pseudo killer. No cussing on the pseudo. Nah, just messing with you. Tighten it up. When you're tired, man. You ain't got the time. Tighten it up. You got the towel, man.
No, man, that's on. We chilling. On
we
Thursday night. This is a Thursday night hangout. Thursday night wild out. We ain't in class today, goddamn it. The hell with the books. We throwing books at the wild students. We throwing books at y'all. Shit. Bust them upside.
Why would I bring a book when these ninjas can't read?
Man, you got the answer key, man. You know what I mean? They don't get that part yet.
Let me close it out with this though. For the black Egypt Knights to win, they would have to prove that the Nile Valley Africans was racist and practiced racism, black supremacy. We had to prove that. That they determine the quality of the human being based off of the color of their skin. That's the only way you're gonna get this in there. That's the only way you're gonna be able to pull it off. Once again, it's not about whether we can read the Meta Nature or not. It's about whether that racism based off of skin color was there. On why they would even remotely have to call themselves beautiful black people and all that old wild shit you say after you've been enslaved and infected by racism. I'm gonna end with that.
I love when this happens. We don't kick no policy. Check. I don't even know you, but about to show you the art of breaking down all the song with 4 parts total. Over for you clowns, grandma told you. You shouldn't mess around with the young boy vocals. Feel Jack on the track, let me coach you. Potentially, my potential energy is way more than kinetic. KE talking shit to me gets no sympathy. Simplifying my symphony, wizard bomb the wizardry. 7.5 habits, his brain reacting so chemically. Yeah, it's me in the comments, and there's you talking shit on the daily. But hit the link there, never do. We with books on the daily. My Discord is a heavy crew. Tough like 4 trucks, moving weight like a Chevy do. Now tell me who think this man can test me? Better get it right. He resembles John B. Yeah, look alike. I went to your channel, I studied your views. I went to school for analytics, so I know he gon' lose. 9 views in 1 year, boy, I can divide. Let's say 2. 2 of them views was you. The rest was bots. You really just need to stop. PKDQ, I really just made you hot, and I'm out.